everyone for coming. I want to thank the Bay Guardian, and I have never hid from the Bay Guardian, and I never will. I appreciate the engagement, and I look forward to working on this agenda as a blueprint. There are two issues we haven't talked about that I want to bring up, and one is nightlife. And if you look at the Guardian readers and you look at people who are progressive, people like to go out in this city, and nobody has fought harder than I have for the right for people to go out and to support clubs and venues. And this is not Mayberry. We should not have the sidewalks roll up at 9 o'clock at night, and we should not give it to a handful of people that are anti-people going out and anti-certain people going out. Now, the other thing I want to bring up is every forum I've talked about a black agenda, and I appreciate that this has come up briefly, and I do think it's reflected in what the Guardian talks about. But we need an agenda that's about black business, about changing the dynamic of schools, and about building the capacity of black organizations, and that's something I'm talking about. Please check me out, BevanDufty.com. Thank you.
Let me thank all of you for coming, and I really appreciate the time and the difficulty of these issues, but most importantly, the honesty of presentation. One of the things that have not been talked about that is very, very important to all of us is that we've got to ensure that in San Francisco, the government that we have is in fact an open and transparent one. The fact that we had an independent expenditure committee that basically ran a candidacy for a particular candidate for mayor, and the fact that that committee was not open and transparent is just abhorrent to me. And I am going to be a mayor that's going to not allow power brokers to take over our government and to run roughshod over what's going on. I'm going to stand against those power brokers and make sure that we return the government of the city and town of San Francisco back to the people, an open and transparent government, so that all of us know what's going on.
Well, thanks again for putting together this great forum and also talking about, I think, the issues that pertain to working families. I'm running for mayor of San Francisco because I believe government works best when you all have more say. And that's one of the reasons I started our website, resetsanfrancisco.org, which is really not a website, it's really an online community that's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what we're doing is we're organizing door to door and computer to computer. And we've started to see what really happens when you actually engage people on the issues that they care about, not what the city cares about, not what the bureaucrats at City Hall care about, but what you all care about. When we talked about muni reform, we had almost 300 people out to talk about muni reform. And we had people who were just there, weren't the usual folks who attend meetings, but people who were there that organized by bus lines. And they were so fed up that why is it that the transit effectiveness project hasn't been implemented yet? Why is it that we keep talking about plans and plans and plans when we still have streets with 2 bus stops. We still have intersections with 2 bus stops. We still can't board through the back door. We still allow red lights for muni buses.
Thank you very much.
So again, I just want to thank you so much for being here tonight.
Tonight you've seen that everybody here can talk the progressive talk, but what you have to decide is who can walk the progressive walk. I am the only candidate who called PG&E executives to account. I made a statement and I called a rally. I am also the only candidate who made a statement about the shooting of Kenneth Harding. And I went to many rallies about police brutality. I am also the only Green who is running. In this time of raging reactionaries and passive progressives, San Francisco cannot separate its destiny from the rest of the country. And it would be of incredible benefit to the whole country if a Green were elected mayor in San Francisco. It would open up political dialogue. It would change political discourse. It would bring hope to so many people. It's time for a Green. It's time for San Francisco to woman up and become the city that outsiders think it already is.
This election is a very pivotal election because of the trends that are happening in this city.
And I want to thank all of you who have been fighting to make sure that everyone who currently lives here in San Francisco will be able to continue to live here in San Francisco. I want to thank the tenant advocates here in this room and let you know that as a tenant, I look forward to working with you to move forward, making sure that we can all continue to live here. I want to thank those of you who've been fighting for our civil rights and fighting for immigrants. As a son of immigrants, this is one of the biggest fights of our day. I want to thank those of you who've been on the forefront of the environmental movement and doing what we need to do as a city to continue to have San Francisco be a model for the environment. And I also want to thank those of you who ride the ride. This is how I get around town. My mini card, my bike key fob, and city car share. We need to make sure that we actually have a true transit-first city in San Francisco. You know me as someone who has a record of getting things done, a vision for the future, and I think it's important that you elect a mayor who is going to be independent. I think that is one of the major questions in this debate, and I look forward to working with you with an independent record of leadership moving into the future. Thank you.
I am not a City Hall insider. I'm a progressive independent who's all about the best people and the best ideas, and I don't care where they come from. I'm also an entrepreneur and an educator. I have a proven track record of creating jobs. I've supported more than 60 Bay Area businesses that have created thousands of jobs. I've also spent more than a decade bringing innovation into our public schools to support teachers and improve student outcomes. And I know how to prioritize and balance budgets without a safety net. I want San Francisco to be known for educational excellence. I absolutely believe we can achieve that and be a model for excellence in urban education that other cities follow. We need to embrace our entrepreneurial spirit in City Hall and continually find ways to innovate, to improve services and spend less money, and that's in muni and housing in so many areas. And then we have to really get back to a culture of empathy, where we support all in our community, not those just those with the loudest voice or the most money and influence. I'd love you to join me at joinjoanna.com. Thanks.
I want to thank the Bay Guardian and all of you that took part in this community planning process during the course of the whole summer, because I don't think that I have seen a document that more clearly summarizes the issues that we are going to have to deal with if San Francisco can be a model for a 21st century American city needs to be. San Francisco has always been the phoenix, celebrating our past and being able to adapt for our future. And the choices that we make in this election have to be about protecting socioeconomic diversity. Make sure San Francisco continues to be the beacon that it has always been for folks from around the world. And it's about leadership. It's about using the power of government to make a difference in people's lives each and every day. And for 10 years as your city attorney, I've tried to do that. From going after payday lenders, drug manufacturers, bringing down the levies, protecting tenants, going after PG&E, I have tried to use the power of the law to make a difference in people's lives each and every day. And that's the kind of leadership that I want to bring to Room 200 to make sure that San Francisco's best days are ahead of it, working with all of you to make sure we're responsive to the San Francisco community. Thanks very much.
Thank you for being here tonight. John Avalos, I'm running for mayor, and I'm running for mayor to put neighborhoods and people first. I'm actually raising kids in San Francisco, choosing to keep kids in San Francisco. My family, Emiliana, who's 6, my daughter Renee, who's 9, they're public school students. My wife, Karen Zapata, a public school teacher. We're dedicated public servants. I'm a social worker. I've been involved in community organizing from the outside in, making sure that City Hall is responsive from the inside, from the outside in, to make sure that people have an ability to influence what happens in city government. And it's not just about getting elected, it's about staying connected. It's about staying connected to communities who are fighting for change. That's what my leadership has been in City Hall, and I've taken many stands on tenant rights, on revenue. I've won some, and I've lost some, and I won some after I've lost some. And it's that kind of courageous stance that it really takes to be a leader in San Francisco government with all the politicking that's going on. My positions have not evolved. My positions are based on my rootedness in communities, and it's with communities that I will fight for my positions with you as your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here tonight. As mayor, I will show up. I don't care whether you've been appointed, anointed, knighted, you show up. And you're there with the people to explain your position. Secondly, as mayor, I will stand up, and I will stand up for you. Now, many of you may not agree with the positions I've taken in the past, but one thing that you have to say about Jeff Adachi is that he stands up for what he believes in. And that's what I was taught by my parents, who were interned during the war. I stood up against police officers who were barging into people's rooms without a warrant. I stood up against this California Youth Authority that was sending kids to prison and not providing them with education. I forced a moratorium, and now that agency is almost gone. We need to have leaders who are willing to take unpopular stances. Yeah, I know a lot of you are upset at me for my position on pension reform, but I had a problem with police officers who were making $516,000 a year, were retiring with $240,000 at age 56, and we're canceling summer school because we don't have $1 million to pay for it. And that's what's motivated me to do right now. I will stand up for you.
Thank you. So, I'm going to turn over to Tim to wrap it up. Can we give one more round of applause for all